On today's show, the Chicago Bulls should trade for Anthony Davis. Make it happen. Do it. They're rumored to. Talk about why today's Locked On Mavs.
This is Cooper Flagg, and you're listening to Locked On Mavs.
Zone 5. Nick, that's a good question.
Good morning, Isaac. All these changes, I still got my dog, Dwight Powell.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave you.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
And welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Mavs for over 10 years. Thanks for reading every day, making Locked On Mavs your first listen, and making Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network out there. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Joining me, as always, my co-host, media member covering the Mavs for over 10 years, right alongside me, the trade tune, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Have you seen Giannis's Instagram account?
I have seen the lack of bucks on it.
Wait, he deleted all the pictures of money?
There are dollars. There are no bucks. There are no doughs.
He knows what he's doing. This is the Instagram delete of stuff is just it's incredible. It's a card that all the players can play right now.
It's a move. You can deactivate, or you could just delete all the stuff from it. You can clear
That
it.
is kind of hard though, right? Like you got to go through all those pictures and archive them.
Yeah, right. And he is archiving them because maybe they'll come back, right? Like,
Yeah.
what if they go to the playoffs and they win a round? Like, isn't he bringing them all
Everything's
back?
back.
Have we ever seen a player bring them all back though?
Oh, that's good.
Like, there's never the report like, oh, Jaden Ivey, all the Piston stuff is back on his.
Yeah.
Like,
Lively's Instagram is back.
yeah. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the rumor about Anthony Davis and the Chicago Bulls. I think the Chicago Bulls should go ahead and trade for Anthony Davis. They're talking themselves into it. There's a report from ESPN that they want to build like they are the Indiana Pacers, and they're trying to find their Pascal Siakam. Anthony Davis could be that guy. And I also want to talk about Cooper Flagg and Ryan Nembhard from that game against the Nuggets, because the Mavs are looking way better than they did to start the season. And so what is real about that? And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's start here. According to Jamal Collier from ESPN, the Bulls have had internal discussions about how to proceed, including conversations about Dallas Mavericks star Anthony Davis. Sources told ESPN, whom they believe could help the team's porous rim protection and interior defense. This is all about an article from the title of it is From 6-1 to 9-10. What to make of this curious Chicago Bulls start. The Bulls started at 6-1. Everybody was stoked about what they look like. They had, they have this young core, and then they have these young guys look exciting. They have these pieces that make sense around those guys, and they like have some guys that they could trade and have some players that hadn't even played yet, like Kobe White. And you're trying to figure out, all right, what do we do with this? Do we push forward? And now all of a sudden, break to now, and they're what? They're 9-10. They're 9-11 now as we're recording this, and they've just completely fallen off. Right? They're 3-7 in their last 10 games, lost 4 straight. And now they're trying to discuss, all right, how do we move forward? And the Mavericks are involved in this because Anthony Davis has been a piece the Mavs have at least talked to other teams about, or have taken calls about, have decided that, hey, we may look to trade this guy because we're too far deep into this hole that we've already created for ourselves. Even if Kyrie comes back, are we real confident in the health of this team being healthy all at the same time? The vision that Nico Harrison had was never going to play out because of the health of all these guys just playing whack-a-mole with all these different guys trying to figure out when they're going to be healthy. And so now the Chicago Bulls seem like a really logical trade partner to me, Isaac.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we've been talking about Anthony Davis trade stuff for a couple of weeks now, and there's been so many different reports about Dallas entertaining, those offers. The record has had a lot to do with that too. And every time that we've had a conversation about it, Chicago is always the team that we talk about because, and I narrowed it down to like 4 teams that I'm watching the most, with Chicago, Miami, Atlanta, and the Clippers being the 4 teams for me. And the Chicago one just makes too much sense. Like when we had a whole episode about it, we started with Chicago because it's like, I think it checks all the boxes that I think Dallas would try to go after. In any Anthony Davis package, I've kind of looked at it for like 3 different boxes that I think Dallas will try to get. I think they would love some type of like young player. I think they would love at least one unprotected pick, first round pick. And then I think they would love to have some type of cap relief after this year to help them not be in the second apron next year. And I think Chicago can do all three of those. Like I've been saying this whole time, like, dude, if you can get 2 out of those 3 in an AD trade, then that would be, great. But if you can find a team to get all 3 of those, I think that's the ideal thing, because we've been saying too, you don't want to like fully bottom out because you don't have your picks for the next 4 or 5 years after that. So how can you do that with Chicago? And Chicago just has a lot of different flexibility and like combinations for how to do it. Like we can sit here and like debate on like if Chicago should do it from like their perspective. I'm with you. I think if I was them, I would go for it too. He's obviously from Chicago. We've talked about that. And they haven't gotten a free agent like that for how long, and to just swing for it and say, hey, come to the East. The East is wide open now, just wide open. And I think we could see some like fun trades this year because the East is so wide open. And they could look at me like, dude, Josh Giddey's playing so well. We bring in Anthony Davis, and it just feels like they could talk themselves into it. And then to match that $54 million, they just have so many different options. They have some young pieces and they have draft picks.
They do. And a package could easily be, this is the one Zach Lowe posed like a month ago almost. It's Kobe White, Vooch, Portland's first round pick, and the Bulls' first round pick. And maybe you throw Kevin Huerter's contract in there to make it work.
So you need another contract in there, yeah.
You throw one more contract in there to make it work, and those are both all 3 are actually expiring contracts, and the Mavs would clear a lot of space. They'd hopefully sign Kobe White to a longer deal because we are very confident that he's a guy that would really work for the Mavericks. What would be wild to have Kobe White and Gafford on the same team after we try to trade them for each other all off season. Like
I like Kobe White a lot.
We love.
Yeah, I like Kobe White a lot, and I would love for him to be like, you're not getting Vucevic in this deal, so let's just get that.
This is a post that I saw go viral where somebody was like, I just found it. Objectively, the Dallas Mavericks should decline any Chicago Bulls trade offer for Anthony Davis that doesn't contain, at minimum, Kobe White and Matas Buzelis. You're not getting, I don't think you're getting Buzelis unless the Bulls are so desperate and they really believed in their 6-1 start. And we have heard in the past that the Bulls really believed that they were like really good at the end of that one season with Zach LaVine and DeRozan. They're like, hey, we think that hot streak we had in March is who we actually are. And maybe that's what they think in this team. They look at that 6-1 start and go, that's who we are. And we want to get back to that. And if they get so desperate for it and they want to win right now, Billy Donovan's a coach that likes vets, and he takes a while to warm up to young guys from everything I've heard from listening to Locked On Bulls over the years. And so maybe that's the case, but I mean, it's wishful thinking then, which is wild because Anthony Davis got traded for.
Yeah, and so the Vooch contract almost has to be in there. I guess you want to do Zach Collins instead. You could do that. That's the bigger expiring contract. Then you're looking at, if you throw Kevin Huerter in that deal, that's another $18 million expiring contract basically. And then, I think you have to have Kobe White in that deal if I'm Dallas. And then I think you're discussing stuff after that. Because you're pretty much close to the salaries at that point. So then it's, they have Chicago next year has 2 first-round picks, possibly. They have their own, and then they have Portland's protected lottery pick. So which I guess they won't have 2, they'll just have 1. But that keeps on carrying over after that because Portland's probably not going to make the playoffs, and they'll keep their pick for the most part.
It's protected 1 to 14.
Yeah. So, so then it's like, all right, if you have Kobe, Huerter, and Vooch in that, are you getting 1 future Chicago pick? Are you getting the Portland pick? Can you get 2 out of that? Then do you get, instead of getting another pick, do you get a flyer on their recent draft pick? The French kid, Essengate, like you get him and just like take a flyer on him. Would you be okay if it was Huerter, Vooch, Io, and Essengate instead of Kobe with a first round pick? Like that's why I'm saying there's just a lot of different options there. Like if Chicago's looking at it and saying, no, we will not give you Kobe White, but we will give you 2 first round picks, and then we'll give you Io and Essengate with some contracts because we're going for it. Like if we're trading for Anthony Davis, we want to win a lot of games, and we need Kobe White. We need to keep, some of these guys. So I think for me, the hardest part with the Chicago thing is like, how do you feel about Patrick Williams? That's the hardest part of it.
I feel about him.
Yeah, it's where like if Chicago's like willing to give in or willing to give up a lot of those other things, but they're like, hey, instead of Zach Collins or Vooch, you got to take on Patrick Williams' contract,
which is a weird one where you're just like, how did you give that guy this money? Because he's making $18 million this year, $18 million next year, $18 million the year after that, and an $18 million player option, and he is what? He's playing 20 minutes a game coming off the bench.
Shoots the three good. I mean, he's 6'7". He's a wing, so at least it's not not like he's like a center or I don't know. It wouldn't be ideal. I'd prefer that be an expiring contract, but I just wonder if that's part of like a negotiation of like, you got to take this contract back if you want some of the other pieces.
Yeah, it's like the ideal world is you get the three things that Isaac just said. You get a young player, you get draft compensation, you get future cap relief. But if you have to take on Patrick Williams' deal that's longer so that you can get the stuff, I would much rather get the extra stuff, the young player and the draft compensation, and just take on Patrick Williams, because maybe then that offsets some of Anthony Davis's money, because he's making a ton of money too.
Yeah.
Coming up, do the Mavs have to trade Anthony Davis? Should they just stay the course after a win against the Nuggets and a win against the Clippers with Cooper Flagg looking awesome? The Mavs starting to figure things out. Let's talk about that and trading Anthony Davis, why they should do it, shouldn't do it, coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. With 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's where Game Time and the Game Time app are coming in clutch to help you. Finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buying tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. World Cup, it's coming to Dallas too, so you're going to want to get those seats. Let's go. And that's going to be super awesome if you're able to do that, and you can do it with Game Time. So go check it out. I love Game Time. I've used it for a ton of different things, not just sports, comedy, concert, music, all that stuff. You can get it with Game Time. See the view from your seat, know exactly what you're going to pay at the beginning, at checkout. It's great. Love that. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets at every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, use the code, one word, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show and listening. We're talking about Anthony Davis to the Chicago Bulls. It's a trade and two trade partners that kind of makes a lot of sense. The Bulls, if they want to make a big push going forward and want to win now, kind of makes sense to make a move on Anthony Davis, because here's one thing: if you're the Chicago Bulls, you're buying low on Anthony Davis. Yeah. Right? Like, his value is pretty low. Like, this could be a chance for you to convince yourself, hey man, if this works out, and hey, we're the Chicago Bulls. We don't have a star, like a number one that's going to win us a title necessarily on this roster. Because I don't think Buzelis is that. I don't think Josh Giddey is that. They're very good. They're going to be very good, but I don't think they're number ones. But hey, we can make a bet on a guy that could help us collectively get way closer to that than we could have if it works out. And this is our chance to swing on something, because we are a huge market, but we don't really act like that in free agency, right? Like, they don't really get the big stars in the way that a big market like theirs should. And so this is a chance for you to in a way like the Mavericks did with Kyrie, right? You take a risk on a guy, but with Kyrie's case, it was both injury and some other things that other teams didn't want to trade for him, or his trade value was really low. It took Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a first-round pick to get Kyrie Irving to the Mavericks. Now with Anthony Davis, it could be a little bit more than that, but you're still buying really low on Anthony Davis, and I think that's something that the Bulls and other teams, I think, should be considering. Yeah,
I mean, if you're Chicago and you're trading for Anthony Davis, like, I mean, the buy and low part, like, in theory, if we take away all the injuries and the contract stuff, we're like, oh, we could get Anthony Davis without having to give up all of our best players, or like, oh, we don't have to give up Giddey, Kobe White for first for a guy like AD, or the fact that you could pick like one of these guys like an Io or Kobe White. SNK is a little unproven, but it's like you don't have to give up the whole like that's another part about the Chicago thing is they're making. That's what you got to remember with some of these like trade packages from Chicago is they're trading for AD to win now. Like they want to win now if you're trading for AD. So they still got to keep. That's why like I could see it. I could 100% see it coming down to like Zach Collins, Isaac Okoro, Kobe White, and a couple picks because then you're still keeping majority of the people still in the rotation. Yeah. You still have Vooch, you still have Patrick Williams, you still have Herter as the shooter. And like you still have majority of these guys that help you start off so well at the beginning of the year. That's the thing with the Bulls stuff. So there's just so much flexibility with Chicago. He's from there. And it's in the East. The East is wide open. It makes too much sense from Chicago's angle.
On the Mavs side of things, the Mavs got a win against the Clippers where Cooper Flagg looked awesome. They got a win against the Denver Nuggets in Denver. That looks pretty great. They had an overtime win against Portland recently. They're all of a sudden like putting together some wins and looking okay. Why are we still pushing? And I see the comments every day. Why are you still pushing to trade Anthony Davis when they're 2 games out of the play-in right now? You're the Mavs, and you're within a puncher's chance of getting back into the playoff picture. Why would they still punt on Anthony Davis doing all this now? Why couldn't they just wait until Kyrie comes back? We've got Ryan Nembhard. All of a sudden, he looks like he could be an answer at point guard. Why not just wait and see what happens with this roster? Why not see out Nico's vision, Isaac?
Yeah. If you listen to the episode the other day, I'm going to sound like I'm repeating myself a lot, but I think it comes down to 2 things. What's the ceiling for this team? And then is that like, look at the building of around other young stars in the league and the pieces they have around them at a young age and where those up and coming teams are at now. Look at it, a Wemby in San Antonio. He has Castle, he has Harper, he has Vassell. Like there's other top picks, other lottery picks around him, and they're considered one of the up and coming like hot young teams. Look at prime example, Cade Cunningham in Detroit. They have Ivy, they have Asar, they have Duren, they have Ron Holland. All 4 of those guys, after Cade Cunningham, all 4 of them in the lottery, they made the trade for Duren. Like, you get the point there. We could keep going on the different teams or different examples. Houston, they're a becoming like team right now. Look at all the guys. Şengün, Amin, Jabari, Eason. Like, you got to have these young pieces to build. Like, it's not very... I shouldn't say you have to, because there's some teams like the Knicks. The Knicks are kind of like the mercenary Knicks. They went out and like traded, free agency. It's kind of rare nowadays to not have, like, as far as like when you're looking at the up and coming young teams. But let's go back to Dallas for a second. What's the ceiling? Like, is it just to get to the play-in? And then my thing with the play-in is like, do you think they're cracking the top 6? Do you think they're going to finish a better record right now than Minnesota? The Lakers are looking good right now. I personally think that's too tough of a hill to climb. And when you look at the other teams of like, I think the ceiling is getting to a play-in spot. And then, okay, well, so what's that for? Like,
you're going to go play the Lakers in a playoff series, or maybe play the Thunder in a playoff series.
Well, it's just like, you're going to make that, you're going to go for it, air quote, go for it, get into the play-in. Because I don't think that they would get into the top 6. You get into the play-in, and then let's just say everything goes right, and you win 2 games, and then you get to face OKC in the first round. OKC's a juggernaut, so it's like, So I personally don't think 1 or 2 play-in games is gonna make or break Cooper's career, and we're gonna look back on it and be like, hey, you know what really helped Cooper's development? That time when they were a 10th seed and they got beat there in the play-in, that one play-in game, it just excelled his whole timeline. I don't think that, because I think the cost of it is a generation, or I shouldn't say generational, is a cornerstone piece for you to put around Cooper Flagg. If you get in that top 5, top 6, we've talked, I mean, Lord forbid if you got a Darren Peterson to pair with Cooper Flagg, that's insane. Or Tabonsa, or even if you got another guard like Michael Brown, like Caleb Wilson at North Carolina. These are top, like there's like 5 or 6 prospects that this is your one chance. You don't have another chance over the next 4 or 5 years. You don't have control of your pick, or you don't have a pick. So it's your one chance to put a young guy, and we could go through all the examples like I did of how you need other young pieces around your young star. We seen it with Luka, how hard it was early on. They had to give up that 2019 pick to move up to get Luka. You do that every day, all day. But man, after that, I was like, well, now they're too good. Luka's too good for them to suck and to get other picks. So it's like, you got to swing for a Porzingis and then sign him to a max contract because like you're swinging for the, it's like you have to try to swing for this thing. So I honestly don't even see the other side of it right now. And call me crazy, I don't see the side of going for it. I think it's almost like malpractice if they do go for it. Like, is your one chance to get a top prospect to go with Cooper? And I'm not even confident fully healthy with the lack of shooting and lack of playmaking on the team that they would have a ceiling of winning a title right now. Are you going to trust AD's health too? Like, sorry. I've never been in this spot in the entire time I've covered the Mavs. 10th year covering the Mavs. I've never been as pro tank or, hey, they got to, think about the future more. I am this year, and I feel pretty confident in it.
That's where they are. There's a couple other reasons the Mavs should stay their other course and go towards the lottery and tank in a way, make an Anthony Davis trade. There's a bunch of them we can talk about. Coming up, let's talk about Cooper Flagg and Ryan Nembhard from the Nuggets game. We saw great stuff from them. What are we expecting for the rest of the season? Let's talk about those guys and have some fun with them. Come on. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac, let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks. Had a nice game against the Denver Nuggets. Their best win of the season for sure. Maybe their best offensive game statistically. One of the best undrafted rookie games we've ever seen in the NBA. And Cooper Flagg racks up some more clutch points. And so let's start with you with Ryan Nembhard. What did you see from Ryan Nembhard in that Nuggets game? And for in that game, and then on for the rest of the season from him.
Somebody that could dribble, so that helped. No, I mean, it was it's just so refreshing to have somebody out there that can run an offense. That can be a floor general that just knows how to set guys up. Some of his vision stuff is just it's different than a Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams probably has more, as the kids like to say, in his bag, as far as just ISO break you down. But man, Nembhard, he's in the right spot every time. He knows. One of my favorite quotes is what Jason Kidd said post game. Is like, he knows who he is. Yeah, and I love that quote from him because he does. Like, he knows exactly who he is. Even like he gets switched off on somebody or somebody's cutting to the rim, and he knows that he doesn't have the side. Like, he'll just hack them, and it's like it's a foul. And it's like, he's just walking away. It's like, I know I fouled him. Like, I know who I am. I am 4'8", and I know I'm not going to be able to like block him or defend it. He's going to score over me. So I'm just going to foul you. And that's just a small example of like, he knows exactly who he is. And his shooting is the surprising part. All the other stuff, it's like, hey, I feel like you know that about his game. But it's like, dude, he was lighting it up in that game. So I hope that they just let him run the show, let him have fun with it. Not to pour water on it. I'm not pouring water on it because it's a lot of fun. But a lot of other teams will have some more length to put on him. And Denver didn't have that point of attack lengthy guy to throw in. Like, even Christian Brown wasn't playing in that game. They didn't have another guy or a guy out there that some of these teams have that guard the opposing like point guards. And I think that's sometimes where I want to see that if he goes up against, which I know the Thompson twins are, but it's like he goes up against, some of those guys that's going to be in his grill the whole time. That's longer, bigger, and to where a team says, hey, I want you to stop him from running the show with your size. Not saying it's impossible for him, but I want to see that before I start throwing up Cooper and Nembhard memes with Brunson and Luka. All right, because
and with Nash and Dirk, like just throw them all.
Did you see that one too?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, I love him and I want him on this team. He does so many things well, but we got to see it against some better defenses and some length and size before we declare him as like, well, we got our next point guard for the next decade.
Well, and the other thing is let's see against some like a longer period of time, right? He's hot with the mid-range shot. He's hot with a three right now.
Yeah.
But let's see it against some other, some other teams with better defenses, and let's see him to have to defend too. I didn't think Jamal Murray took it at him enough. I thought
Murray was leaving the game like 3 times.
Like where? Yeah.
He kept on getting hurt and then limping, but then he was like back. I'm not trying to take anything away from it. I was just saying, like, hold up just a little bit before we declare him as the long-term starting point guard.
But if you're talking about this season, he is the long-term starting point guard.
Oh, this season, yeah, sure.
Right?
Let's do this.
let's play him out now and see what you got. And now the Mavs have something that they can actually look at and say, all right, this is working. Something on offense is working. Let's keep this up. And we'll see what happens long-term. We didn't think I never thought Brunson was going to be what he is, and he ended up being what he was. And so I'm willing to be wrong, but I'm kind of with you on Nembhard, because it's hard for those guys his size to be able to defend well enough, to be able to keep up offensively enough to make it actually work in a playoff setting.
I'll say this about Brunson. Was wrong about Brunson, but you could also look at the level in which Brunson had won. I mean, we're talking about long collegiate career at Villanova, winning national titles, like multiple. We've seen him on the biggest stage. Not trying to take away anything from Nembhard, but he did play at Montverde, yes. But then he comes in, plays. What was the first school he played at? Because then he transferred to. Yeah, he played for Creighton. Then he transferred to Gonzaga. Great player. He's a good player. I'm not saying that at all. I like him a lot. He's so much fun. I was super hyped watching it. I'm just not. And for the rest of the season, throw him out there at point guard. All right. Like, it'll be a lot of fun. And man, do you not feel a little bit like I get these words. I struggle with these words. Validation versus vindicated. What's the word I'm going for?
Validation that you said something right, or vindication that somebody got their comeuppance?
All right. Validation. Let's go with that one. We were just so frustrated from the opening tip of, dude, can Cooper just play with the point guard?
Just one, just any one.
And just like, what a difference, man. Like, look at him. Not saying that it's the only thing that's making him just like pop off now. I think he's just getting more comfortable and everything too. But it's just so much different for a guy. Like, this is how Cooper's supposed to play. Off the ball, let him have a point guard in there. You're not forcing that crap, and where he's so uncomfortable early on the season, and it's just nothing is more glaring than watching Cooper Flagg right now play at the level he is, and I'm like, he should have been playing with a point guard from day one.
Are you ready to say Jason Kidd did it on purpose?
I was waiting for it. Kid's like, hey, I know that Nembhard's going to unlock him, listen, so I'm going to wait.
This team is really distracted by this whole Nico thing. It's not working, and I have a way that I could just get him out of here. Let's just start real bad. Let's have the worst offense in the NBA.
I'm going to put Cooper at point guard.
I'm going to put Cooper at point guard. Watch this, guys. He elbows Popeye Jones next to him. Hey, guys, watch this.
Speaking of Nico, shout out to D-Lo getting in this game.
Explain yourself. Sorry.
The Caleb Martin minutes too. I'm like, what is going on?
Well, Kid really he talked about that, like them getting used to the altitude, because last time it really affected them, and so I think he really spread out those minutes. I think Nembhard played 34. Nobody else played more than like 32. He was really stretching those minutes. So he played Dwight a bunch. He played Caleb Martin a good amount. He's just like, I'm just gonna spread these minutes. Why do you think the Nembhard thing has worked and D'Angelo Russell didn't really, and Brandon Williams has only worked like some?
I think it's speed and just what you're like the goal. Like when he gets the ball, when D'Lo gets the ball, I think his mindset is first score, second set someone up. I think it's the opposite for Nembhard, and I think he's faster with it. Like D'Lo is a little like slow-mo-y, herky-jerky.
Break you down. D'Lo breaks you down, right?
Yeah,
Like,
crafty, but like if we're talking like one-on-one, D'Lo's going to beat Nembhard every time. Like one-on-one at the park. And D'Lo's going to like have the crazy, like, hey, he put up 45 at Rucker Park. Nembhard is going to like, hey, do you want me to go run this team for you? And we can win a lot of games, but I'm going to go in there and it's like pass first. And then when I have to, then I'll score. And I think that's the difference between the two. And you just see him, we've talked about it so many times before. This has been his role his entire life. Like go back to Montverde and he's playing with Moses Moody and Cade Cunningham and Scotty Barnes and these guys. Like this is his role. And it's the shooting thing. He keeps shooting like the open shot. He's going to be the guy that teams leave open.
Right.
And they did, and he drained them. That's going to, that almost more than his defense is what's going to keep him in the league for a long time. If he can hit the open three, and he did the other night.
That's exactly right. That and just I think quick decision making has been. I think Nembhard has done really, really well. He's fast. Like he's like, all right.
He's not going to hold on to it.
No. I'm going to make this play fast. I'm going to drive here fast. I'm going to make a quick decision and keep the defense on their toes instead of the slow down, let the defense get to where they want to go, and then try and break them down, and then you're forced to do something or kick to somebody. And I think that's the thing that has been one of the most impressive thing for Nembhard to me is how quick he's processed everything.
Shout out to Klay too. I thought Klay played well again.
Is Klay back?
Klay, I love that so much for Klay. Ever since he was called a bum by Ja, he's like, all right, I'm back. All right. So,
well, he has been a guy that has been slow to start, right?
Yeah. Who had the story the other day of where he said post game or is after that game? I think it was the Clippers game where he was like unavailable and then he became available for the game. And his whole thing was, you know, he told some reporter, and I hate that I'm not getting who the reporter was, of like, hey, I started thinking about where I was at in my career and I'm only playing like 20 minutes a night. I should be out there playing. Like, and he was like, no, I'm available instead of like unavailable. And I was like, dude, I just love that so much. It's like, this dude's like, I'm going to play. I should be out there.
Did you hear what he said after the game about Nembhard?
No.
He said that him and D'Angelo Russell made Nembhard go back and watch his college highlights to boost his confidence.
That's awesome.
They're like, we forced him to sit down and watch his own highlights to give him a boost, and he's like, so we're the ones that should be credited for his game.
I wonder if he played at Zaga with Chet. Probably not.
Last 11 games for Klay, 14.5 points, 40% from three, 9 threes per game, and
the captain's back, baby.
I was say I mean, those are the only two numbers you really look at. Playing 24 minutes a game, basically.
Someone call Meg.
He's shooting 44% on twos. That number is not great, but I don't really care about that number for Klay.
PJ is still out. Lively is out. Gafford is out. 80 is out. No, he wasn't out. 80 played.
But that's the other thing about this whole thing. Should they stay the course, like with half their rotation out?
Yeah, 80 I thought had a pretty good game.
He was awesome. He was exactly what they needed on offense, like a dynamic roller. Okay, a dynamic roller and a guy that can run the pick and roll changes the Mavs offense completely.
I mean, for me, it was the shooting. It was like that's what has been so
rolling and popping,
so inconsistent with him. Is that like long two? I mean, it felt like he hit multiple mid-range shots. He hit multiple threes. It's like, dude, when you're hitting the shots that you want to take all the time, then it looks pretty good out there.
Dogs.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, listening every day. Go listen to the bonus episode I did yesterday about Cooper Flagg and Nembhard. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.